Hello and welcome. My name is Zach DeWeird, and alongside me is Mark Vanderlucht.
Bonjour.
And this is the Night Sports Show. So this is also the second time in a row that it's just going to be Mark and I. Caleb and Alex are home and couldn't make it with us today. So just recapping the past few weeks. So about 3 weeks ago, we talked a lot about the Leafs and basically the lines about that. So we've been talking about hockey for the past 3 weeks. 2 weeks ago was just all Canadian teams beside the Leafs. And last week, Mark and I just talked about hockey. So we talked about the World Juniors and talked about other teams revolving around that. Today, we want to talk a little bit more about the World Juniors as that starts in 9 days. So, Mark, I asked you this a little bit like last week. Are there any thoughts they want to make on Canada? I know we were talking a lot about how Sweden are going to be the heavyweights this year. So do you have any more insight on that now that you're looking at the page?
Well, when I was looking at Sweden's team, I noticed that their team also has Erik Brandstrom on top of Timothy Liljegren and Rasmus Dahlin. So, needless to say, their defensive core is going to be pretty mobile. It's going to be pretty effective at moving the puck. They're going to be good. And then you look at their forwards and you look at their goaltending. Their goaltending have all been drafted by NHL teams. So that shows you that their goaltenders are pretty good. And their forwards are also very good as well. They have 4 deep lines on offense. Basically, it's like looking at an all-star team for the World Juniors. They don't have any significant holes in their roster. They're all good. Let's just put it that way.
Does Canada have a chance of taking the gold on this one? They're always going to be competitive. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But we took a look at their defense. They're small on defense. Like their tallest guy is 6'3", I think.
6'4".
6'4". Cal Foot. Okay. Yep. And has he been drafted?
Yep. Yeah, by Tampa Bay. No. Was it by Tampa Bay?
I'm not sure. I bank on you for all my draft prospects, but
yeah, it doesn't matter. All of their defensemen have been drafted by NHL teams, so that shows you that their defensemen are good. They're all mobile puck-moving defensemen. Cal Foot is going to be relied upon as their shutdown D-man, as he's the only one with significant size. The other defensemen are either 6'1" or 5'10". All of their defense are a lot like Sweden's, where they can move the puck really well. Don't bring a whole lot of size, however, but that's not a big issue in today's game. Today's game is all for speed and skill. Team Canada got a huge ad on offense with Tyson Jost.
Is he 100% playing?
Yeah.
Because I've seen the roster without him, but I don't know if he's...
Well, that's just like what it would look without him. He's on the team. He's been loaned to the team.
Has he? Okay.
And then they also have Victor Mete as well, Habs prospect. He's going to be pretty good in the future. I think he's going to do well in the World Juniors.
I've heard a little bit about Taylor Radish. I think he was on the team last year.
Yeah.
And I thought he was
He's a Tampa Bay prospect.
Okay.
He's going to be pretty good. He was drafted in the second round, I believe. This year, his production has been pretty slow compared to last year. Last year, he was blowing up the OHL. I really wish the Leafs picked him up because they could use a few left wingers in their organization. But having said that, though, Canada's looking like a good team. They're going to finish in the top 4, I guarantee it. Will they win the gold medal? It's going to be difficult. Sweden is looking really good. Sweden has no holes on their roster. But then you look at Canada's roster compared to Sweden's, they're pretty similar in the way of like the defense and how they're lined up. Canada's goaltenders are all drafted as well, I believe. Carter Hart's pretty good. And then they have 2 other goaltenders that really stick out to me. Michael DiPietro has been drafted as well. He's good. I'm not satisfied with him quite yet. I think he's a good junior goalie. I don't know how he's going to pan out in the NHL. He's only 6 foot, and goalies that are below 6'1" tend to struggle in the NHL. But having said that, though, this is a World Juniors tournament. It's not an NHL Olympics event or whatever, you know. I think Canada will do well. They have a good team. They have a deep team. They don't have any significant holes on their team. I would like a tiny bit more size, however, seeing as this tournament is on North American ice. It's not on European ice. Because when you're playing on European ice, it's bigger. The ice sheet is bigger. So you want those skilled players that can actually skate well. You're not going to have a guy like Milan Lucic on your team or Radko Gudas on your team. You want guys like Chris Letang or Matt Duchesne or PK Subban or, you know what I mean, right? So it's just one of those things. Canada's looking good. Russia's looking good. They have Andrei Svechnikov on forward. I can't quite pronounce some of their players on their team as it's looking like a whole jumble of letters. They're always known for deep offense. Their defense is always a little questionable. It's always a little shady. Their goaltending is always pretty stable. Having said that, yeah, I think the top 4 teams are going to be Russia, USA, and Canada and Sweden. 3 of the 4 goalies on Russia are all drafted in the NHL or top prospects coming up into the draft. They're all pretty solid goalies as well. Their forwards are good. Their defense is okay. It's a nice mixture of KHL talent and Canadian junior talent as well. They have a few KHL guys and a few WHL guys. There's one prospect on the team. Unfortunately, I can't quite pronounce his name because I'm going to butcher it right now. But he plays in the WHL. He's 6'3". I'm going to try and pronounce his name. Anatoly Yelizarov is North America. He's playing in North America right now for the Edmonton Oil Kings. He's doing pretty well. He's not known for his offensive game, but he's one of the more elite defenders. They have a pretty good. They have good depth on defense. They have a good mixture of talent and physicality, which I like when defense are well rounded. Their forwards are good. They're skilled. Russian forwards are always going to be skilled. They can put the puck in the net. They're always going to be. They're always going to be dangerous. They have one guy by the name of Klim Kostin, the St. Louis Blues prospect. He's big. He's skilled. He's going to be a dangerous piece to their team. And then like I said, Andrei Svechnikov is going to be a part of the team as well. He's going to be good.
Who's Svechnikov? What prospect is he for? Like, what team is he on?
Oh, he's in the OHL currently playing for the Barrie Colts.
Okay.
And he's on the top line for them. He started off in the OHL really well. Got injured for a big chunk of games. He's back now, and he's still lighting up the OHL.
Is he drafted?
No, he's going to be a prospect that's going to get drafted this coming year. He's going to be a top 3 pick.
A top 3 pick.
Yeah, he's 6'3" and he's 210 pounds. He's a left winger. He can put the puck in the net and drive the net. He's got a great shot, great hands, good size that he uses to his advantage. He's almost another mold of Alex Ovechkin. So that's a pretty good comparison, I'd say.
So top 3. So him, Darlene. Who rounds out the top 3? Is there another player that?
Well, that's the funny thing. The top. That's basically the race for the draft right now. It's just those 2, and then it's just a mixture. Every scout has their own mixed interpretations of after those 2 picks. It's going to be Darlene and Svechnikov. Well, you never know depending on after this tournament. But right now, that's going to be the main headlines throughout this whole season. It's going to be, who do you want? Do you want defense or do you want offense? Do you want Svechnikov or Darlene? And then after that, it's everybody's got a different list than the next person. So could I really say who's the 3rd pick? Not really. I couldn't give you a straight answer. It's up to a whole bunch of players. Having said that, though, it's kind of disappointing to see that there's a significant lack of top end talent for Canada. Canada might not even have a top 10 pick this year. You know how rare that is? It hasn't happened since the entry draft has happened. We've always had a top 10 pick every single year. And for this year, there might not be one.
Is it all Europeans or is there an American in there?
Well,
as well?
it's a mixture of both. There's a lot of Europeans. There's a lot of Americans in there. I'd say it's nice to see that only because like Canada's Olympic team is so good, right? Because when you see Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon on the same line, you're gonna be scared. You're gonna poop your pants a little bit, because they're all first overall draft picks. They all know how to put the puck in the net. They're no dummies when it comes to how to pass the puck and find the open man. And then the defense is good as well. Okay, so I'm looking at the top few picks right now. I see Rasmus Dahlin as the obvious number one, and then I see Adam Bokvist, who is also Swedish, is also on the Swedish World Junior team as well.
And that's a forward?
No, he's a defenseman.
Oh, really?
And he's 5'11", so he's obviously going to be very mobile, and he knows how to move the puck. Okay, so it's the top three. It's going to be Bokvist, Svechnikov, and Dahlin. My honest opinion is it's just going to be up to Svechnikov and Dahlin by the end of when it comes time to the draft. Based on Dahlin is 6'2", Svechnikov is 6'2". There's a big emphasis on size and skill together. Adam Bokvist really needs to make a statement this tournament in order to show that size doesn't quite matter. It's all about the skill and the speed that counts.
How big is Dahlin?
Dahlin is 6'2".
Okay.
Yep. So he's not going to be a pushover when he fills out.
All right, so that's been your bit of a draft overview with Mark, the first 10 minutes of our show. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
So looking at Canada's World Junior schedule, they play Finland on Boxing Day, so 9 days today. They'll be right in the middle of a game against Finland, or just finishing the 4 o'clock start. So they'll be in the third period 9 days from today against Finland. Wow. And you did not put Finland in your top 4, so maybe that's a game Canada should win, but Finland is never an easy out.
Yeah, you never know. You really, really, really never know.
They won the championship 2 or 3 years ago off of Kasperi Kapanen's overtime goal.
The Finnish hero.
The Finnish hero. And then the next day they play Slovakia. They have a game off, and then they play the United States outdoors on New Era Field, the home of the Buffalo Bills. I'm really looking forward to that game. And then they play Denmark on the 30th. So they have one tough game against the States, but I think you should be happy if you're Canada's group. I think that Belarus should be, or not Belarus, sorry, Denmark should be a game you should win. Slovakia is a game you should win.
Yes.
Finland is...
They're going to be a tough competition, obviously, but they're not the States.
No.
So
yeah, I think if you're Canada, you're happy with the group stage, but when you get to the knockout round, when you have to play the Swedes, the Russias, how are you going to fare against those big dogs? If you can't beat the stage, maybe you can't beat the Russia or the Sweden.
Well, you never know, though. It's just one of those things. Canada has shown it, and Sweden has shown it, and the States have shown it. Like when you lose to one of those top teams in group stage, and you can still beat them in the medal rounds.
Right.
It's just one of those things where it shows that group stage, as long as you can get to the knockout stage, group stage means nothing.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's just got to know when to play when the pressure's on.
Yeah. So. All right. So that has been our first 15 minutes of the show with the World Junior Talk. So now I want to go on a new topic.
Okay.
I recently read an article. It's been on NHL.com for a little bit. So we obviously know this is the 100th anniversary of the NHL, and they made a funny, humorous article about the next 100 years of the NHL, and I have that in front of me. I just want to take a look at some of the major highlights, and I want to see your reaction. I want us to talk about that. So the first thing that they predict, June 12, 2021, the New Jersey Devils right wing Kyle Palmieri is awarded the 2021 Conn Smythe Trophy as most valuable player of the Stanley Cup Finals after scoring 23 points in 25 games to lead the Devils to their 4th Stanley Cup. And that is in 4 years.
No. Ain't going to happen.
That's not happening.
No.
So you don't see the Devils winning in the next 10 years?
Highly doubtful. Only because right now their number one goalie is Schneider.
Connor Schneider, yeah. Or Corey Schneider, sorry.
Yeah. He is not young. He's no spring chicken.
No,
but he's not old either. He
was held back by Vancouver for a little bit because he was
a little too long.
A little too long.
He's in his 30s now. So by the time 2020 comes around, he's going to be in his mid-30s to 40s. When you want to win the Stanley Cup, you need 3 components of a cup-winning team. Obviously, the Penguins have poo-pooed that now by winning a back-to-back cup last year without Chris Letang, but you're going to win a few cups when you have Malkin and Crosby on as your number 1 and 2, and then when you have Matt Murray being your number 1. But what seems to be the main components to win a cup is that you need a number 1 centerman, you need a number 1 goalie, you need a number 1 defenseman. If you don't have any of those, good luck trying to win the cup.
I think in 4 years he sure could become a number 1 centerman.
I don't think so. Well, he's going to be their number 1 centerman, but is he going to be able to be a top 5, top 10 centerman in the NHL?
Is defense the issue with you on that? The two-way ability.
Yes.
We both know he can put the puck in the net. He can pass the puck.
Oh yeah.
He can pass the puck, but
he seems to me kind of like a Nick Backstrom almost / Nick Ehlers / William Nylander. Like, he's a dynamic player who can distribute the puck effectively. He's got eyes in the back of his skull, it seems, at times. He's got great speed to his game, but does he have a dominating gear to his game? You know? Is he going to look like a Ryan Getzlaf? Is he going to look like an Anze Kopitar? No. He's 6 foot, and he's 170 pounds.
There's no Selke in his future.
No. Well, when you look at like Patrice Bergeron, he's not a big guy, and he's won the Selke, and then you look at Pavel Datsyuk, and then Jere Lehtinen. You know, they're not big guys. They just know how to play defense. Nico Hischier will never be known for his defense. You know, and then you look at a guy like Austin Matthews, who is a two-way centerman, but you will always think of him as being able to score quite easily. So it's when you have a number 1 centerman, you need that number 1 centerman to be able to play on both sides of the puck. And then when you have a number 1 defenseman, you need that number 1 defenseman to play in all situations. And then when you have a number 1 goalie, you need that number 1 goalie to be able to steal you games. Corey Schneider can't steal you games, but he's going to be too old at 2021 though, because he's already into his 30s. He's not a spring chicken anymore.
Right.
So
yeah.
He's ripe.
Right.
He's not ripe anymore, though. You know, he's getting a little mushy.
So next, September 24th, 2021, Don Cherry retires at the age of 87.
Finally.
I know you are not a massive fan of Don Cherry.
Let's get this straight, okay? He was a coach in the NHL.
He was a player.
For like 2 games.
I think he played 1
2 seconds, maybe. It doesn't matter, okay? He's coached in the NHL. So he's got valuable experience to share, but his insight on the game is so outdated. It's embarrassing.
It's almost like he favors Canadians.
He's a xenophobe or whatever that is. I think, right? He's
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He hasn't adapted his views on the NHL at all. You know, the game has changed so much, and he has not gone with the flow. He's still stuck in 1975 when his team won the President's Trophy and choked in the Eastern Conference Final.
It would have been like the Wales division or
whatever it is.
Like that.
Doesn't matter. He should have retired a long time ago. He's just senile and old, and he yells too much. He's on there because it's just filler now. You know, it's not something that people actually listen to now. It's just something people watch.
Right.
That's a big difference, you know? Do people watch you or do people listen to you? That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And CBC's got to learn that. They haven't yet, which is unfortunate, but they need to. So
what they're saying also, so I'll read the rest of the paragraph. So Hockey Night in Canada will stop after 41 years of Coach's Corner. Instead of canceling the segment, a reality TV show is organized to find the next coach former NHL player and Arizona Coyotes broadcaster Paul Bissonnette wins the competition and begins a 25-year run as a new analyst on the first intermission segment, playing expert off of Elliot Freeman. It's a little out there. All right, we're gonna go to the next one. June 30th, 2026. Chicago Blackhawks center and captain Jonathan Toews retires from the NHL and immediately is named Prime Minister of Canada.
Okay. All right, fine.
Next. February 15, 2027. Jaromir Jagr celebrates his 55th birthday by announcing he will retire at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. He's going to be wearing some Depends on the bench. He's going to be taking some boosts instead of some Gatorade.
Yeah. So it's either going to be...
Hey, coach, pass me the boost.
Okay, he's 55. He's not like 155. But...
He looks like it at times. He's so slow. Okay, so what's the next one?
It's either 55 or whenever he passes Gretzky on the all-time scoring list. Which is going to be a little while.
Whichever comes first.
Next, March 13, 2028. Chicago Blackhawks defenseman Duncan Keith, closing in on his 45th birthday, plays 26 minutes in a 7-2 win against the Minnesota Wild, raising his on-ice average to 25 minutes and 10 per game.
He's a lot like Chris Chelios in that sense, eh?
He's
a chippy defenseman that will play till he's 50.
Yeah.
But
how old is he now? In his early 30s?
He's probably 34.
34, so closer to mid-30s. So,
yeah,
but
he's getting old.
He has no sense of retirement. Nobody would think, he's pretty close to the end of his career.
Well, he's playing okay this year, too.
Yeah,
he's not scoring, but he's okay. He's Duncan Keith.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
April 16, 2028. 6K television allows fans to feel like they're in the face-off circle for the puck drop between the Edmonton Oilers captain Connor McDavid and Arizona Coyotes captain Clayton Keller for Game 1 of their Western Conference playoff series. The technological advance allows fans, with the push of a button or verbal request, to switch angles to watch games from any angle on the ice. So the big one there is that Edmonton and Arizona are going to be against each other in 2028 in the Western Conference playoffs. You never know. That's 11 years. You never know who Arizona gets.
They finally get good.
Hey, they were the third seed like 6 years ago.
10 years ago. Whoa.
But do you think Clayton Keller is going to be the captain of the Arizona Coyotes? Can you see
for sure. Yeah.
I don't know if that's sarcastic or not.
No,
Okay, you actually do think so.
Like, who on their team warrants captaincy right now?
Nobody.
Is there anybody on the team that's a captain?
Larson isn't bad, but...
True. Honestly, if he's not captain, I'm surprised. He's not captain, is he?
No. Or actually,
that's weird.
He might be. But Arizona might be one of the teams that... I don't think they have a captain because they just got rid of Shane Doan. Or not got rid of, but he left and retired. But...
Yeah. Shane Doan.
He's been their captain for many, many years. I don't think they have a captain. I don't think they announced one. They might be the Leafs have like 4 assistants. Or associates.
Yeah, well, that's weird, though, eh? Like, what happens when one of those teams wins the cup? Who gets the cup first?
They play rock, paper, scissors. They have a
Colton
mini tournament.
Moore gets the cup first.
He
passes it off to Fraser McLaren. Gives it to Jamal Mayers.
I think you're describing a dream you had or something.
A nightmare.
A nightmare.
And then passes it to Vesa Toskala. Then gives it to Ron Wilson.
Coach.
And passes it to Martin Gerber.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah, that's it.
June 14, 2028. 11 years. The Vegas Golden Knights defeat the Montreal Canadiens in the 2028 Stanley Cup Final and lose the Stanley Cup somewhere in Vegas during their post-game celebration. After the Golden Knights bring in actor Zach Galifianakis and retired boxer Mike Tyson, and that is a reference to the Netflix series The Mike Tyson Mysteries, to help them piece together the events of the previous evening. Original Golden Knights goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury confesses he hid the cup on the roof of the T-Mobile Arena as a practical joke.
Isn't that a reference to The Hangover, the movie?
It could be.
Mike Tyson and Zach Galifianakis were a part of the movie called The Hangover.
I know that Mike Tyson is also the voice actor of his own series called the Mike Tyson Mysteries.
Santa Claus. Nice. Okay.
June 20,
Who got the Stanley Cup, guys?
June 25, 2029, so about a year after. Upon retiring at the end of that season, Boston Bruins forward Patrice Bergeron immediately takes over as coach of the Bruins. In his first season, he leads the Bruins to the lowest goals against average total in the league, a first-place finish in the Eastern Conference, and a Stanley Cup. Mark is looking at me like I just shot his sister. That never existed.
I'm not happy about that headline.
Well, the Bruins could win the cup. I hate the Bruins as much as the next guy, probably more than the next guy. Man. If the Bruins win I almost didn't go to school the day after the Bruins won the cup.
Don't say it. Don't say it. 4-1 lead.
I was not going to say that. I don't. As a Leafs fan, we don't talk about that game. You know that, and I know that.
Someone's got to say it though.
No, nobody had to say it. We're both Leafs fans. We don't talk about that game. It never happened.
Part of my soul is dead.
I can still see Reimer on the ground when Patrice Bergeron scored that 5-4 overtime goal.
I can still see Cody Franzen being an idiot in front of James Reimer and chalking up that puck right to him. Right to the worst guy to ever score on the Leafs. The guy that always scores on the Leafs. Always. Every single game.
Mark, are you a fan of Patrice Bergeron?
You tell me, man. You tell me. I'm not going to give you the answer, but I think you know.
All right. September 15, 2032. 15 years from now, the NHL reunites Team North America for the 16-year anniversary of their entry into the World Cup of Hockey, with all players now under 40 years of age. They take the World Cup by storm and, in a stirring finale, beat their old nemesis Russia to win the title. McDavid and Matthews are named co-MVPs of the tournament. They simultaneously retire from the hockey, declaring that despite having captured 4 Stanley Cups between the two of them, this was their crowning achievement.
4?
They each got 4.
I would prefer 4 for Matthews.
And 0 for McDavid.
Well,
what if they went to the finals 8 consecutive years, Leafs Oilers, and just won back-to-back? Like, Oilers won, Leafs won, Oilers won, Leafs won.
That would suck.
Just having 8 straight years.
As a Leaf
That's
fan,
like the Cavs and Warriors.
I've always wanted the Leafs to win the cup when I'm alive, but for that to happen, like you said, that's literally like the Cavs and Warriors. It's not fun anymore. That sucks.
And
all right.
It's likely going to be that next.
Ugh.
All right, next one?
Yep, next one.
June 20, 2036. The Stockholm Skaters of the NHL's European Division. Yeah.
Wow.
With the number 1 pick of the 2036 NHL
Stockholm
draft.
Skaters, nice.
Select Neil Johnson, who was born in Las Vegas the day of the Golden Knights' first home game back in 2017.
Nice.
So that's just basically saying that eventually
it would be pronounced. Is it Neil Johnson? Oh, he was born in Las Vegas. He's an
American.
Okay, I got mixed up with the Stockholm.
Neil Johansson.
Neil Johnson. Jag gillar väl lätt hjärta. Jag Swedish meatballs. All right, time to cut it now.
Yeah. May 31st, 2039. Defenseman Rasmus Dahlin, chosen number 1 in the 2018 NHL draft, retires after 21 seasons.
21.
He's the all-time leader among Sweden-born defensemen in points and games played, passing Hall of Famer Nicholas Lidstrom.
Wow.
So that's assuming that Hedman and Carlson don't pass Lidstrom, and Dahlin does.
Wow.
Dahlin also has won the Norris Trophy as the NHL's best defenseman on 4 occasions, but that's not a record, so I didn't say that. No. I think who has the record? I think Orr's won it. Does Lindstrom have it?
Oh, or probably.
Or might have it, or Lindstrom does. Yeah. One of the two. I think
Lidstrom has won it 7 times. I don't know how many times.
I was going to say 7, so it's probably Lidstrom. Yeah. He's inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2042.
Wow, waits 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. October 4th, 2055.
Wow, long time from now.
Yeah, this is what, 38 years from now?
Yeah, something.
The Nashville Predators, playing in what has become the 4th largest market in the United States, play their first game at Bridgestone Stadium. They had Bridgestone Arena, now it's Bridgestone Stadium. Their new 40,000-seat home. Taking advantage of state-of-the-art making technology, the stadium features a retractable roof so Predators can play outdoor games whenever they wish. So they're saying that Nashville in October 4th of 2055 will have the first retractable hockey arena.
Yeah.
And I don't know how cold it gets in Nashville, but I don't know if it's really sustainable. Like
winter is something weird in there.
Yeah, maybe, because they're like kind of in the middle. They're in Tennessee, so in the middle of the south and the north. June 15, 2078.
Wow, long time.
This is 61 years from now. The Los Angeles Kings make history when they become the first team to select a Chinese-born player with the number 1 pick in the NHL draft. He goes on to score the winning goal in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals against the Linköping Lions, the NHL International Conference winner. I don't know where Linköping is.
That's in Sweden.
Is it in Sweden?
Yep.
Okay, never mind. So apparently
I would assume so, but...
Yeah, so it looks like the NHL will have a American conference with probably 4 divisions, maybe
Canadian division,
a Canadian division, and all that, and then
because there can't be a Canadian conference.
No, and then an international conference with the likes of a European division and maybe an Asia division.
Yeah.
All right, January 15, 2082, Gretzky's record of 2,857 points, which seemed unbreakable. I think you know where I'm going with this one. Is broken in an unprecedented era of offense in the NHL.
I would love to be alive if that were to ever happen.
All right, we'll be in our 80s when that happens. So we'll be 84
Wearing
years.
Depends.
We'll be 84
in
years
wheelchairs.
Old. You'll nearly turn 83. So honeys. Hey, it's not crazy for us to living till we're 80 is not crazy.
Well, my family genetics.
Okay, we're not going to get into a big sob story here, but
I'll be lucky to live till 60.
Oh my god. October 10, 2092. A woman appears in an NHL regular season game as a goaltender 100 years after Manon Rayume. I don't know how you
Rome.
Is it just Rome? Okay. Played goaltender
Rayume.
I don't
It's okay.
It's Rheaume.
That's Manon Rome.
Okay. Played goaltender for the Tampa Bay Lightning and became the first to play in an NHL preseason game. October 4, 2117. So that is 200 years.
100.
A little 100 years from today. 200 years after the NHL first started.
Okay. Sorry.
The Global Series proves a renewed hit, and by 2117, the NHL has visited 100 new countries, playing regular season games as far as Australia. The highlight of the 2028 Global Games in Sydney comes when Australian ambassador to the United States, Joe Hockey, gives tours, drops the ceremonial first puck, sings the national anthem, and serves as the emergency backup goalie for the Los Angeles Kings. So that's a bit of a mouthful and a lot of events happening, but Joe Hockey seems like a really good guy.
Well, Joe Hockey should meet up with Joe Soccer and Joe Basketball as well.
They're all ambassadors for Australia from the United States.
Nice.
And December 19, 2117, so 100 years from Tuesday, is on the 200th anniversary of the first NHL game ever played. The Montreal Canadiens and Ottawa Senators face off at Lansdowne Park amid a light snowfall. If that doesn't warm your heart, I don't know what does. But, so Mark, any comments?
Well, amidst all of this, there's no headlines of Gary Bettman disappearing. So
he's going to be here for the next long term.
What is known now is that he is a killer nano robot who will live forever. He is always going to be the commissioner.
Yep. And let's end on that. We're going to take a quick break. Mark and I will be back in about 5 minutes to talk more about the NHL and maybe what's going to happen in the next 100 years. This has been the Night Sports Show. Welcome back. This is the Night Sports Show. I am Zach DeWeer along with Mark Vanderlucht.
Hola.
We just had a pretty funny episode segment about the next 100 years. Mark and I both got a bit of a kick out of that one. Some of them are pretty bold, like we said. Mark says that the most likely one to happen is Rasmus Dahlin becoming the best Swedish-born defenseman, but the rest of them are pretty much a wash.
They're really bold statements.
They're really bold.
Some of them might happen earlier than expected. Some of them won't even be close to happening.
Like 2021, the Devils winning the Cup.
That one, yeah.
Palmieri getting the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, Palmieri or however the heck you say his name. Whatever. But yeah, anyways.
We're going to talk. So we talked a lot about just hockey last week. We just brought up teams and we talked about what we thought about them. We talked about Canadian teams 2 weeks ago in the Leafs. So we're just going to kind of continue that trend. I'm just going to bring up teams. We're going to go with the Metropolitan Division to start, but we really never know how it's going to go. We also have the Winnipeg-St. Louis game in front of us, so we will keep you updated on that. Currently it is 0-0 with about 3.5 minutes left to go in the first. So the first team that we're going to talk about, the Washington Capitals. What can you expect regular season-wise, and what can you expect playoff-wise? We both know that regular season-wise, they're a fantastic team. They're the best in the NHL regular season-wise. In the playoffs, they're not fantastic.
Don't bet on them in the playoffs.
Never bet on them.
I've never understood why people peg them as Stanley Cup winners. It just doesn't make any sense. Because it really boils down to having Ovechkin as the captain. Like, he's a great player, but is he a captain? No. You can say that, he's a guy that wants to win the most. He's the most driven player. Cool, that's great. Does he lead by example when it's time to win? Is he a clutch performer?
Clutch,
no.
maybe. Well,
in the regular season, when he likes to score 50 goals a year, that's cool. But how many cups does he have? 0. Yeah. How many Olympic golds does he have? 0. How many Maurice Richard trophies does he have? 5? Okay.
I thought you were going to go to 0 on that. And I was going to question it.
How many Maurice Richard trophies does he have? 0. How many goals does he have? 0. How many points does he have? 0.
He got a couple last night, so I would have.
No, but seriously though, it's when it comes down to it, your number one centerman or number one defenseman need to be your captain. It's okay. No, you know what? No, it's not even that. It's just who is the guy that wins in the pressure situations? Who turns it up a notch in those times to win? Like when you watch Ovechkin in a Game 7, he disappears. Or he doesn't disappear. He just floats around at the top of the circle waiting for the puck. Ovechkin is 6'3" and 240 pounds. He's a big guy.
Hit somebody.
He is first overall as well. So that shows you that he's not only big, but he's skilled. You don't get drafted first overall without being skilled.
Without just being big.
Well, being big goes a long way, but being skilled gets you to the first overall pick with that size. It's my biggest problem with him though is I was watching his series against Pittsburgh last year. In the last minute and a half, he was just waiting at the top of the circle. Yes, he's got a great shot. It's always, when it gets on net, it's always dangerous for a rebound, whatever. But he's big enough and skilled enough that when he gets involved in the play, he makes stuff happen. He's skilled enough and he's big enough to just dictate the game. It's just a fact. It is what it is. And yet he's waiting for a one-timer. And his line mates aren't even good as him. Backstrom is a great playmaker, but he's not physical. Kuznetsov is a good playmaker as well. He's elite. Same with Backstrom, but he's a little more physical, but he's not Ovechkin physical. And when Ovechkin gets involved, he's going to make plays happen. He's big, he can score, and he can make plays happen. Backstrom is not big enough. You can put Tom Wilson on that line all you want, but he's not skilled enough. You just got to take Ovechkin by the horns and say, hey, buddy, if you want to win, get involved. You don't have to back check like Bergeron all the time, but just make sure that you're forechecking as hard as you possibly can. You're one of the bigger forwards in the NHL. You're above average in height, and then you have above average skill. You're an elite scorer. Get involved with the play. Don't wait for the puck to come to you. Go get the puck. And yet he's waiting at the top of the circle for a one-timer. Why? He's a first overall draft pick. Light a fire under his butt and say, get going. Score. Because when he wants to play, he is a top 5 player in the NHL. You see it with Evgeny Malkin as well. When they want to play, they play. They are elite. Because when Evgeny Malkin is, like, when Crosby goes down with an injury, and Malkin finally sees that he's the number one guy, you see how good he does? He's unstoppable.
How well do you think Malkin would do on a team that doesn't have a number one guy, like Florida or Arizona?
He'd be unstoppable.
You think so?
Unstoppable. Oh, absolutely. It's like he's one of those guys where, like, if you're the number one guy, you play better. But if you're not the number one guy, what else do you do? Because you're used to being the number one guy. So what else are you? You're number two? Number two's not as good as a number one.
Yeah.
So, but coming back to the Ovechkin thing, it's just, if he got involved more in the play, like if he were a centerman, Washington would have had a cup by now. I guarantee it. Because centermen are in the middle of the ice. And when a good centerman is in the middle of the ice, they're controlling the play. Because you look at Kopitar, you look at Bergeron, you look at Crosby, Malkin, they're in the middle of the play all the time. They're always dictating the puck. They're like, that's just what good players do. They're always in position to dictate the play. You know, like Crosby, Malkin, Kopitar, Bergeron, they change how you play with your team. You know, you can't go up the middle because they're strong enough defensively and offensively that they're going to stop you. You know, like they're good. That's just what it is. They get involved with the plays. And then when you look at Washington's team, their cap space is horrible. And then they have contracts coming up, like John Carlson. He's a top 4 defenseman at minimum. He's a top pairing defenseman on the Capitals. He's going to want some money. And his contract's coming up this year, and they have $600,000 in cap space.
Well, who else could they or not, but just leave? They just won't sign him back. Are there players?
Jay Beagle, Lars Zeller, like Alex Chiasson, however you say his name. He's a French guy. But yeah, like John Carlson currently is making $3.9 million, and he's going to want a pay raise.
Yeah.
He's a lot better than 3.9.
Yeah.
Because he's got above 20 assists this year, and he's got top pairing minutes this year. He's a good defenseman, and he's 27.
He'll be entering or not.
He's in his prime.
He's entered his prime. Yeah.
He's in his prime. He wants his money. He's going to get market value. So it's either I highly doubt he's going to get traded, but it's going to be really difficult for Washington to sign him back.
He's a pending UFA.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a team like LA or Ottawa who can't get Carlson and maybe can afford a John Carlson to try and but that's not going to work.
Hey, Ottawa fans, we couldn't get Eric, but we got John.
I hope you're happy.
The watered down version.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He's doing better, but still, he's not Eric.
No.
But then when you look at Washington's cap situation, though, Brooks Orpik, guess what his cap hit is? I want you to guess.
5.1.
Add 400,000, and there you go.
5.5.
Yep. For 2 years.
That's too much.
That's $5 million too much. So
who are the 3 big guys? They're big. So obviously Ovechkin's fine.
Dmitry Orlov is signed for the next 5 years. Matt Niskanen is signed for the next 3 years. And John Carlson is up after this year. And then they have a few prospects on the bottom pairs who are cannon fodder, basically. But then their bottom 6 is horrible. But it doesn't matter when you have Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, and Backstrom, and TJ Oshie. So those 4 do enough. Then when you have Matt Niskanen is a pretty decent defender who should not, in my opinion, be on the top pair. He's not a top pairing defenseman. That's a square peg in a round hole. And then you give Dmitry Orlov $5 million. No, that's not working. And then Braden Holtby is up in 2 years.
How much is Holtby making?
6.1. Which is good. You know, he's a good goalie, which I think he could be making more. But he probably realized that, Ovechkin needs a contract and Backstrom and Kuznetsov need contracts, so I'm just going to cut it down a bit. Because he easily could be making up to 7.5.
Yeah, he's not a Price goalie, but he's not a massive step down from Price.
No. Because he's been named to Team Canada's Olympic roster, so...
Oh, yeah.
So
has he won a Vezina?
He's been a top 5 candidate.
I believe it.
He's an annual top 5
for a number of years.
Yeah, I don't know if he's won because there's Bobrovsky and Price always there, but yeah, he's an annual candidate for the Vezina.
All right, so now to the 2021 Stanley Cup champions, the New Jersey Devils. Oh my! It pains me to say a little bit.
It's a little disgusting to think about. Only because they play the trap system, and that's the one system I hate the most. But looking at their team, though, they have $7.6 million in cap space, which is pretty good.
So they have a lot of money to spend.
Yeah.
Do they have any pending UFAs that they gotta?
No. All of their pending UFAs or RFAs are just prospects or bottom 6 players. And then their defense, they got Andy Green at $5 million, who's okay. Shouldn't be a top pairing defenseman though. They got Sammy Vatanen at $4.8 million,
who they just acquired.
Yeah. And they got Damon Severson, who's okay. He's signed for the next 5 years, which is a pretty good deal. He's signed for $4.1 million. And then Ben Lovejoy signed for the next 2 years. Yeah, their defense is okay. Could be a little better. Their top 3 defense are pretty solid, but they could definitely add another option on D, just to make Corey Schneider's job a little better. His contract, he's got 4 more years after this season at $6 million, which is pretty good. Yeah, he's 31, so I don't see them winning the Cup in 2021. Or whatever it is, 2022.
2021.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and next...
But then they got Nico Hischier and...
Yeah.
Whatever.
There's some potential for a good team, but I don't know about Cup winners.
Yeah.
Columbus Blue Jackets, are they still legit? I should have asked this before. Is New Jersey legit? They're second in the Metropolitan, ahead of the likes of Columbus, New York, Rangers, both New Yorks, the Islanders and the Rangers, and Pittsburgh.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because they have Nico Hischier finally as another option to your team. When you get a top 5 draft pick for free, you're gonna do pretty well with that pick, because the Leafs finally became good with Austin Matthews last year. Nobody expected them to make the playoffs. Granted, they shouldn't have because of Tampa Bay being ravaged by trades and injuries. But when you look at the team, Austin Matthews was the missing puzzle piece. He is the missing puzzle piece for the next 5 to 10 years because of that number 1 centerman role. But yeah, it's just one of those things when you can finally get that extra gear of offense to your team. It just makes the matchups for the other teams a little more difficult. So then instead of a 2-1 game or a 3-1 game for the other team, it might end up into a 2-1 win for your team because you just have another gear of offense for your team.
Right. But back to Columbus. So what do you think Columbus needs? So they have the number 1 goalie. Bobrovsky's the number 1 goalie. There's no doubt about that. They don't really have a number 1 centerman.
No, yeah, you're right.
And then Seth Jones maybe could become a number 1 defenseman in the future. So what do they have to do to get that number 1 centerman? Should they tank? Because they're too good of a team to tank, in my opinion. But do they have enough pieces to get a number 1 centerman or enough cap space to get one in free agency?
Well, here's the thing, though. They have Pierre-Luc Dubois, who could turn into their number 1 centerman.
Yeah, he was the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah, and he's 19, so he's not too old or too young or whatever. So he's perfect for their team right now.
He's on the team right now. He's playing in the NHL, right?
So right now he's currently being developed as a winger because playing as a center as a teenager is very difficult.
Yeah.
Matthews and McDavid and Crosby and Taves are freaks of nature for that. But when it comes to developing centermen, it takes time. Center and defense and goaltending are difficult positions to play in the NHL, and they require development. But with that said, I don't think they will tank ever in the next 5 to 15 years. They shouldn't, based on them having Seth Jones at 23 and Pierre-Luc Dubois at 19. And then they have Artemi Panarin, and then they have Josh Anderson and Boone Jenner, and then they have David Murray and David Savard and Ryan Murray. They're all relatively young.
So their team is not even at its prime yet. They can get better.
They could definitely get better. There's an extra gear to their team, I'd say.
I think they shocked everybody by getting that 2nd seed in the Metropolitan last year. Third. Was it 2nd or 3rd? They played Pittsburgh, and they
Yeah.
They lost the eventual Cup champions.
Well, it doesn't matter what seed they got. They
lost.
Yeah. Their cap situation is, I'd say, quite impressive. They have no significant contracts coming up other than Artemi Panarin, and then they have also $5 million cap space, which is pretty good for that team. When you have Bobrovsky signed up, you have Panarin signed up for the 2 years for this year and next year, and then Dubinsky's signed up forever.
But Panarin he's a centerman, isn't he?
No, he's a left winger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
because
in fantasy he's a center left wing, but he's a winger. He's a winger.
Well, it's only because he's played center for spot duty this year because Dubinsky's had some injury problems this season, so he's filled in, and then Nick Foligno's not.
He's like a Mitch Marner center. He's not really a center.
Yeah, exactly. He just fills in for the draws when the guys are down on injuries.
Right.
But yeah, then when you look at their team, like Ryan Murray, when he was drafted, he was compared to Scott Niedermayer, and Scott Niedermayer is a top 5 NHL defenseman of all time. He's a legendary defenseman. But has Ryan Murray lived up to that comparison? No, because he's 24 now, and what has he done in the NHL? Nothing close to a Norris Trophy candidate. Is he developing? Slowly, very slowly, a little too slowly if you ask me, because he was a second overall pick.
Who was in front of him?
Nail Yakupov. The third pick was Galchenyuk.
So that was a rough draft.
Yeah. And then the fourth pick was Griffin Reinhart.
It was a really rough draft. What was that, 2010?
No, it was 2013.
2013.
2012? Was it 2012? Yeah, I think it was 2012.
2013.
Yeah, and then the fifth pick was Morgan Riley. Sixth was Hampus Lindholm.
So you've memorized this draft. Wow.
Well,
all right. So that's next episode.
Seven was Dumba, and then 8 doesn't matter.
Just letting Mark name all the draft picks.
Number 8 doesn't matter. I don't know who number 8 is. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Columbus is a good team. They're supposed to be this good. They're going to be good for a long time. Yeah, when you have a guy like Josh Anderson, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Seth Jones, and Ryan Murray, and Zach Werenski's going to be incredible.
I'm a big fan of him.
He's going to give... along with Pierre-Luc Dubois, as long as Pierre-Luc Dubois develops, he and Werenski are going to give Columbus a lot of cap troubles.
Right.
Based on the fact that they have $5 million cap space. Granted, they can gut their bottom 6. Their bottom 6 is useless. Other than Oliver Bjorkstrand, he's going to be pretty solid. Sonny Milano is a skilled forward. He could be decent. If he's not scoring, though, what else is he bringing to the team? Nothing. Yeah, Sergei... Yeah, you know what? Sergei Bobrovsky's got a contract for 1 more year after this year.
So Columbus is in a bit of...
they're in a pickle. They're in a pickle.
Big time.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for this show, we're in a bit of a pickle because we are out of time. It is 6:58. We got a group waiting for us. This has been another episode of the Night Sports Show. I am Zach DeWeerd. Alongside me is Mark Vanderlucht.
Au revoir.
I hope you had a good time, and we will catch you in the new year. We will likely be on January the 8th will be our next show.
Perfect.
So we will see you then.